If that man takes 2 hours to respond, you take 3 hours. If that man posts a thirst trap, you have to post a thirstier trap. If that man is dating another person, fill up your roster. That is the worst advice that you can hear. Okay. And I hate when people are promoting online to play games with people. I see it way too often. I see the worst advice online. If you are tired of matching their energy, because I know how exhausting it can be, this episode is for you. Let's talk about matching energy. It is so immature to match someone else's energy. And I think we have good intentions behind it. Okay, we want that person to show up for us. We want them person to show that they care. And then when they're not showing that they care, we're like, okay, fine, I'm going to show that I don't care. But what it ends up doing is making this a game rather than a means to connect. And do you really want to feel like you're playing a game of push and pull with a person that you want to be with? It doesn't feel good. And I want to kind of walk through what a secure person does when someone is kind of not showing up for you the way that you would want them to do. Matching energy does not work. And I think the only thing that it really does is emotionally drain you, harming your emotional well-being. You're dismissing your own needs because you want this person to like you. And you're playing these little games so that person will show up for you. It just doesn't work. Okay. And the more that you try to make it work, it just ends up crumbling, disappointed within yourself because you didn't show up authentically, and you're disappointed in them because they never actually stop playing these games. If someone's not showing up for you, the last thing that we're going to do is stoop to their level and show them that you care less. I get the need to detach from someone. I get, wanting to pull away your energy. I get maybe not showing up because they're not showing up. But I think showing a little bit here and there and then trying to play this game and trying to read between the lines. What does he mean by this? Why isn't he texting me all the time? Mirroring their behavior is never going to work because you're not showing up authentically in that relationship. And I think the mindset behind matching energy really comes down to protecting yourself, testing their intentions, or avoiding vulnerability. And all of these three things is really just to protect your emotional state. You're going about it in the wrong way. Instead of speaking up for yourself, instead of setting boundaries, instead of walking away when you need to, you're just hoping that this person will change because of the behavior that you're now matching from them. You're like, okay, well, if I match them at their energy, they're going to end up liking me. It doesn't work out like that ever. That other person can sense that it does feel like a game. Games are only attractive to little boys. I recently saw a TikTok of this girl online who is an influencer. She's pretty big. And she was talking about how this guy, she went on like a bunch of dates with him and he just didn't text her as much as she wanted to be texted. So she ghosted him or blocked him or whatever. And I'm like, this is so immature. And this is the reason why your relationships aren't working, and I'm not coming for her. But I don't like that's the type of advice that's getting out there today, is like, oh, well, if he's not constantly in communication with you, especially in early days, then he doesn't like you, or he's not your person. Your husband would never. Like, okay, you have to realize that sometimes people are busy. And what actually matters is that person showing up for you. Is that person actually making plans with you? Is that person putting in the effort to actually see you? Like, that's what matters, not frequency of how much they're texting you. How much they text you and how much they like you literally don't matter. Like, it does not correlate. Some people just aren't texters. Some people just don't want to be on their phone all day. I don't want someone personally to text me at all hours. I want to see you, and when we see each other, we're having meaningful conversations, not little bits throughout the day. I want to hear from you consistently, but it doesn't have to be you texting me 24/7. I actually find it a little bit irritating, because what are we really texting for? Make a plan with me. I don't want to be your pen pal, especially in early days. If you want to get to know me, take me on a date. If you want my time and energy, you're not going to get it through texting me all the time. The best texters are the emotionally unavailable people. They love texting all the time, especially early days. The people that aren't ready for a commitment. The people who are actually busy are like, okay, I don't have time to be on my phone texting you 24/7. I just don't. I have my own life. I have my own things going on. And that doesn't mean that I don't like you or I don't want to be with you. It irritated me a lot seeing this video because you're stooping down to a level that just doesn't make sense. From her story, he had shown that he liked her. He was showing up. He was flying to the same places to see her. I'm like, how does this make sense? But I get that she was in a space that she didn't want to be vulnerable and be like, hey, look, these are my needs. She wasn't presenting herself and her needs to the person. She was just like, you know what? If he can't do this, then okay, I'm out. I just don't think that that's the mature way to handle things. And if you actually want a meaningful relationship, you have to be vulnerable with the other person. Put yourself out there knowing that you might get hurt. Lead with an open heart. The more that you're protecting yourself, the more shut down you're going to feel and the less connected you're actually going to be to any person. Secure people do not match energy. They maintain their own energy. And if that other person is not presenting the type of energy that that person wants, who is secure, they're either going to say something about it or know when to walk away. There's no in between of like, I'm going to play this little game. Like, no, if you like me, show up for me. And if you're not showing up for me and it's a consistent thing, in bold letters, consistent thing, then I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to sit around hoping to teach you how to treat me. But I will say if it's this one-off thing where it's a little situation here, a little situation there, find whatever. If it's not a consistent pattern, then I'm going to speak up about it. I'm just going to say what it is. But if it's a consistent thing that keeps happening and they're not showing up for me the way that I want to be shown up for, then I'm going to walk away. Maybe I say something, maybe I don't, depending on the relationship. I think the better that person is, the closer that we are, I'll probably say something. But if they're just showing that they don't care at all, I'm just going to go ghost. You don't get the pleasure of closure from me. You no longer have access to me. But again, if it's someone that I actually liked and respected and we had a good thing going on, but they're just not giving me exactly what I want, then I'm just gonna be like, hey, this is where we set boundaries, right? And you don't have to say, I have this boundary. No, you just literally say, hey, I'm looking for this, and if they can't live up to what you're looking for, then fall back. You don't need that person. Allow that person to be them. And if they can't match what you need out of a relationship, then we fall back. Otherwise, we speak up for ourselves and say, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Allow them to see if this is something that they can actually do or not. And again, if they can't, then we move on with our lives, because a secure person doesn't stay with anyone who doesn't give them what they're looking for. But I think that's the way that you can really tell if they're just not interested or they're genuinely just busy, is to communicate. I know it's something we all hate doing. It's something we are all scared of doing. But the second that you communicate, you will get your answers. You will know exactly where they stand. You will stop wasting your own time when you communicate. Tough one. Mic drop moment. But seriously, if you really want a relationship, if you really want a successful, healthy relationship, it is built on trust and communication. So if you're not communicating your needs to this person, they will never know. They will think that they can get away with whatever. It's not a passive, like, I'm just going to fall back and then end up resenting this person because you're not getting your needs met. And now you're unhappy, and then your unhappiness plays out on them in passive aggressive ways when they don't even know what's going on. All because you were too afraid to speak up for yourself. A healthy relationship doesn't come from passive aggression. It comes from communication and being able to say, hey, this is what I need. If that person can't do it, I will walk away because I love myself, expect what I need from a relationship in order to feel loved and safe, cared for. And if this person can't give it to me, we out, baby. We're leaving that shit in 2024. I really genuinely think the more willing that you are to accept whatever bullshit they're on, whatever games they're playing, the more you deserve to be in that space. And I'm not saying this to call anyone out, but genuinely, if you are entertaining it and you're not changing it, you're choosing it. So with that being said, keep your energy consistent. Stop with the games, stop matching energy, show up the way that you would authentically show up in a relationship. That way you know for sure that the people showing up in your life are really meant to be there, are for you and genuinely want to be there, as opposed to you trying to play the cool girl, trying to play Mrs. Nonchalant, just so you can try to keep this guy that really doesn't even care that much about you. Let's leave that shit in 2024. And if you want to be sure that what you're doing is coming from not just matching their energy, but really showing up authentically, ask yourself this question. Is this coming from a place of insecurity, or is this coming from a place of confidence? If it's coming out of confidence, you will know. If it's coming out of insecurity, you'll question everything. Should I do this? It'll be all the little questions that are adding up. That is the insecurity talking. If you have to ask 5,000 friends what you should do in a situation, that is coming out of insecurity, just to give you a little hint. But that is it for this week's episode. And with that being said, that is it for this week's episode. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you got some kind of value out of this. And if you have, thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this with a friend if you think that it will help them out. And subscribe to the channel, hit that 5-star rating, do all the things. I love hearing from you guys. So leave some comments and I will see you all next Tuesday.